Let's talk about Hitler.
That'll make sense later.
I'm immaculately conceived.
I don't know what to do.
I swear I'm not stupid.
Take it or leave it. Sometimes you just want to leave it.
If I gotta borrow my mom's underwear, I'm borrowing her underwear.
You just, yeah.
Misa likes the Jar Jar Binks.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
Oh no.
I don't know. Like, I think I'm just pretty great. Just staying on the
Sucks to
planet.
suck.
Why are you saying it with a question mark?
Clap, bitch.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Action.
And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling? Welcome back to another F1 race review. Finally, we have been on a hiatus from race reviews for the last month.
Yeah, it's been rough.
We're finally through the summer break. We done forgot everything we ever knew about Formula One.
Yeah, apparently the drivers did too. So it just all around felt like we were all like, wait, what's this sport again?
Like, what's happening? Who are our front runners?
Yeah, like
what?
Wait,
I just forgot everything.
I'm like, Max isn't leading? When? Apparently for a while.
So we are going to be reviewing round 15 of the 2025 Formula One season, the Dutch Grand Prix. The track was the is it just Zandvoort?
Zandvoort Circuit.
Zandvoort Circuit. I like this track. Just in general, it looks really cool. The banking is nuts. I thought it presented some interesting moments for the race.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Not in like the best way for us personally.
No. We fell victim hard this race.
Yeah.
I feel it was a personal attack.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
I think that the Zandvoort track, because this was Max's home race.
That's right.
He's from the Netherlands. And I feel like all of his main ops were cursed at this track. Because we had DNFs from people we don't typically get DNFs from. We had Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton all DNF'd. They were the only 3 DNFs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all Max Verstappen's main opponents or main rivals, or have been at some point in the past 5 years.
George Russell should be offended.
He's not a main op.
Max was like, I didn't do any voodoo curses on you.
So yeah, this was an interesting race, some interesting results, and
Yes.
You're going to tell us about those.
I am. So our race podium, it was Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, and Isack Hadjar.
Let's go, Isaac.
That was so exciting.
That was super fun. He was so excited.
I was excited.
That was great. I'm another one of Max Verstappen's adoptees.
Yes.
His little race rookies his little ducklings.
Yes.
Got a podium.
I was so excited for him. So with Isack getting his podium, that has moved Racing Bulls from 8th to 7th in the constructor standings,
Awesome.
pushing Kick Sauber down to 8th. So yeah, I was very excited for him. He is just that. So he's now our second rookie to take the podium. So driver standing wise, Isack Hadjar is now in the top 10 and he knocked out Ocon.
Oh, cool. Do you know that, like, looking at the standings, I would have assumed that Racing Bulls would have been ahead of Sauber prior to this because Isack had such consistent finishes, and Liam got a couple of points finishes in there once he kind of found a little bit of a groove. I had been so impressed so early in the season with Isack. I thought he would have the team as a whole, because we even had the conversation about, is the Racing Bulls car like overall a better car than the Red Bull car? And it seemed like it was, because the two teammates for Racing Bulls were, no matter who the two were consistently performing similar to each other, and again, consistent from race to race. So I just thinking that the car is better, the team is better, I would have assumed they were ahead of Sauber, but I guess with Nico getting that podium finish, several races ago, I guess that would have bumped them up quite a bit.
Yeah, and then Bortoleto, he's got a few points at this point ever since they did that upgrade a few races ago, and it took Liam a little while to find his footing, and he did have some I think he had at least one DNF for sure not too long ago. And yeah, so I was just very excited for Isack. I'm like, oh yeah. And then the jokes online, everyone's like, bruh, whether you want that Red Bull contract or not is coming. It's coming.
And the thing is, it's so unfortunate that it's viewed this way, because if Yuki had been left in Racing Bulls and not been bumped up to the Red Bull seat, I think Yuki, could have still been performing on a similar level to Isack
100%.
at Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
But it's like now that he's in this Red Bull car, it's just like there's not much he can do with it. And, justice for Sergio Perez, who had been saying for a long time, it's not me, it's the car. This car is evil.
Yeah. And speaking of Sergio Perez, over summer break, we now know who the Cadillac drivers are.
Yeah.
Which we pretty much said, well, not we, I'm saying like the community as a whole pretty much already suspected it was going to be Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas.
And those selections make a lot of sense
100%
for
sense.
A brand new Formula One team coming in. They would want some people who are a little more established, have some experience in terms of developing a team, leading a team. I think that those are two smart, safe selections. Yeah. But also, they're proven race winners that, you give them the car to compete and they can do great things with it. We've seen that. I mean, we've seen Sergio Perez do wonderful things on other teams besides Red Bull, where he was able to put that, a car from a lower level team.
It was Racing Point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was able to do great things with that car. And I mean, Bottas, again, is a race winner. He's, I feel like he's like an institution at this point in Formula One. He's just there. He's part of it. Yeah.
I mean, and they're both drivers that have supported world champions and been a part of that. And I think it's a great pairing. And I kept hearing the commentators talk about, I know a lot of people are saying, why not bring in young talent? And I'm like, first of all, I've seen nothing of that online. But granted, I haven't been online as much as normal. But we have enough.
We have a ton of young talent.
We need no more rookies on the grid at the moment. We're good. Yeah. I think we're good. We've got plenty.
Yeah. And I get the idea that bringing 2 more seats to the F1 grid should mean we're bringing in 2 brand new I get that idea of people wanting that. It should bring in 2 brand new personalities, not bring 2 drivers we've already seen on the grid before and who had, some lackluster seasons or performances before. I get that perspective, but I just don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, I can see it. I just don't agree with it. So so that happened over summer break.
Yeah.
And now you can tell us the fun facts.
Oh, yeah. Did you do all the constructor standings?
Oh, well, that was nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed besides Racing Bulls stealing 7th.
Everything else is
everything else stayed the same. Which means McLaren is still first and no one's catching them.
Yeah.
So
they're the clear favorite. So they're the runaway winner.
Yeah.
For the constructors.
Yeah, they're going nowhere.
So who's second right now in the constructors?
I think it's still Ferrari.
Okay.
I will verify that though. Still Ferrari. Even after 2 DNFs. But so Ferrari has 260 points and Mercedes has 248 points.
Okay.
So
dang, even with the double DNF and then they also, what is it, a double disqualification in China for Ferrari?
Yeah, but Kimi, I mean,
he had several DNFs.
Yeah, he had some issues, and then he got penalized. So I don't think he finished even within the points.
Yeah, for a couple of races.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm trying to balance it out in my head. Okay, where were we making up and missing points?
Yeah. Because after all his penalties and stuff, even from this race, he finished 16th, so no points. So I think too, with you realize oh yeah, they finished the race doesn't mean they get points, but when you see Mercedes, you're like, no, they finished. Where's their points at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving into our fun facts, which is my favorite section of every F1 race review. This was Oscar Piastri's 9th career victory, which ties his manager, Mark Webber's career total.
That's crazy.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's nuts.
This was Piastri's first career podium finish at Zandvoort. They're calling it a Grand Slam win for him because he took pole, he won the race, he got fastest lap, and he led every lap of the race, making it the first what they're calling a Grand Slam win for a McLaren driver since Mika Häkkinen in the 1998 Monaco Grand Prix.
I thought there was another one because somebody else had a Grand Slam though, and we were talking about it because
this was for a McLaren driver.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, because I remember we were talking about someone else had a Grand Slam because I remember I was like, "What's that?" And we talked about it, so I don't remember who it was.
It wasn't a Grand Slam. It was a there was another word for it.
Oh, okay.
But they basically got pole, won the race, and got fastest lap.
Oh, okay.
There was another word for that.
Oh, okay.
It was a hat trick. Hat trick. That's what it was.
Okay.
Hat trick was those 3. So the Grand Slam is the 4.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a it's like a tennis term too, I think.
Oh, okay.
Grand Slam is when they win like the 4 major like tournaments.
It's like the racing EGOT.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, so this one was pole, won the race, fastest lap, and led every lap of the race, which I believe I also saw that this is the first time Oscar has done that, where he's led every lap of the race, where he then won.
Okay.
So Oscar Piastri is the first Australian since Jack Brabham to take a Grand Slam. Jack Brabham would have gotten a Grand Slam in Belgium 1960 and Great Britain in 1966.
Wow. Well, nice, Oscar.
This does say that Oscar led from start to finish for the first time in his career, and he now leads the Drivers' Championship by 34 points.
Yeah, that poor Lando.
Yeah, so thinking about like just Oscar's race in general, he just did the thing. He did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
He held the lead at the start of the race. He maintained it. There wasn't really ever a point where he was under attack.
Not too bad.
Lando for a little bit was kind of catching up to him, but it was never really in that good window to be able to overtake him. So I don't think he was ever really under threat from Lando.
Yeah.
Other than maybe like the pit stop strategy.
Yeah.
They could have tried to do something there, but ultimately, I mean, Oscar just had a really good weekend.
Yeah, which it was funny because I think Lando was like the favorite McLaren driver going into the weekend because he just had like an overall before the race, like a better weekend. It was like seemed like the better or the stronger driver of the two. And then just qualifying, Oscar outqualified him. So, I mean, he did well. I don't know that we'll know what would have happened, obviously, if Lando didn't have the failure that he had on the car, but that sucks.
Yeah, I think someone said that in order for basically at this point in the season, we're pretty much looking at a McLaren 1-2 finish for every race. They're going to be the favorites to be a 1-2 finish. The problem with that for Lando is that in order for him to surpass Oscar in the driver's standings, if they're both 1-2 finishing, Lando has to finish in first
every time
for the next like 5 races, and then he would be 1 point ahead of Oscar.
That's what, yeah.
So really, and
that's if Oscar's even finishing second. So and I think it was Joyland Palmer saying basically that's why he really needs Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull to just get up in there and make it harder for Oscar. Yeah, we need some of their opponents to be in the mix a little bit more if Lando has a chance to really get in there. So, I mean, and we've talked about this in previous episodes. I feel like people keep expecting for this to be Lando's season, and it's just not shaping up to be that way. And they keep expecting, keep going into weekends. Oh, Lando's the favorite. But if you look at qualifying and you look at race wins and you look at racecraft, it just seems like Oscar overall is doing better as a driver this season. I mean, he's the prodigy. Yeah. But people just keep saying Lando's the favorite to win it. And I'm like, at what point is Oscar the favorite to win it? Oh, I think Oscar is the favorite to win it. I think it's just peace. Again, it's just... And then again, it can just change at the drop of a hat. I know. All it takes is, like we saw here, it takes one engine failure, one thing out of your control, one mistake, that something goes unlucky your way, and then, the fight is back on for the championship. Exactly. And stuff like that. I mean... You know how Formula One is. They just remember the most recent thing that happened. All of a sudden, over summer break, it was all Lewis Hamilton is, oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like he hasn't been in the top 10 every single race, basically, besides China. He's washed up. Yeah, he's washed up and he's done. He's horrible. And I'm like, what the? Y'all have to chill. But yeah, that's just how the fandom goes. Yeah. So moving on to P2, we had Max Verstappen. He ended his longest run without a podium since 2017, 2018. So Max. He went, his longest run without a podium since that was 4 races. So he ended that streak, which was a bad streak. We don't like that streak. No. He has never finished lower than second in his home Grand Prix. That's right. Hold up. This is Brazil last year, but I got my Max shirt on. You can't see the back, but it's cool. It's a Max Verstappen. It's a Max Verstappen Red Bull shirt. I was very happy about that. Let me tell you though, at the start I was like, get him. I just hate to see Max Verstappen coming. I mean, I love to see him coming, But they gotta hate seeing him coming because I'm like, he's gonna get you.
So let me set the scene for you of me watching the start of this race.
Okay.
So I was planning, and I did wake up like well before even like the pre-race show. And I was planning to watch that, make my coffee and my breakfast, and then sit down and,
The key word I heard was planned.
I did wake up and fell promptly back asleep. Was awake for like 30 minutes, fell back asleep. So I then wake up about 5 minutes before the race is supposed to start. And I'm like, no, I still need my coffee. I at least have to have my coffee with me to sip on during the race.
Talk to me until I have my coffee.
So literally, I'm like rushing in my kitchen, trying to make my little cup of coffee. And then I hear Alex Jake say, and the green flag is waved to the back, and I'm like, crap. And so I immediately like turn around and face the TV. I just stand there and I'm like staring at the TV, like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so then I'm standing there in the middle of my kitchen watching this happen, and I'm screaming. I'm like, Max, like all the embarrassing noises.
I'm not embarrassed.
I'm just screeching because Max just fully sent it. I'm like, he's lost his mind. He was like, I'm not backing off.
I think if me and you actually watch the 2021 season, we would be like, oh, that makes more sense. Because I didn't watch that full season, obviously. I mean, my coverage came from Drive to Survive and Travis telling me about it while it was happening. So, and I see clips of Max from back then where it's like, oh my God, that's a scary dude. So I'm like, man,
no fear. Was not hesitating. Somebody just fully sent
Somebody went, he is not driving like he has a wife and kids at home.
For real. Yeah, he just fully sent it. He had a little bit of a wobble.
Ooh.
He recovered beautifully.
I was like, Max.
And I mean, he just took that place from Lando. And then they asked Max about it in the post-race press conference. And they're like, so just take us through kind of that move. And did you think at any point like that you could maintain that lead in front of Lando? And Max was like, I knew my only chance really was to go start with the softs and make my move at the start and try and get the place. And I did. But ultimately, like the pace just wasn't there, which, we saw when Lando was able to catch me and he
did that beautifully.
Me.
Yeah, Lando did a really good job.
And Max said, and even during the race, the F1 commentators were like, it doesn't look like Max was really putting up much of a fight, because we know Max. We know that if he doesn't want to give up his position,
he won't. He just literally won't.
He just won't do it.
You're both going to crash.
Yeah. And so Max just kind of like let him. He didn't really put up much of a fight. And they asked Max about that. Max was like, look, I just really didn't have the pace to maintain that position.
Yeah.
And I knew that like it doesn't make sense to try and put up a fight and fight that hard for a lap or two to defend that position when ultimately like it's gonna happen at some point. Lando would overtake me. He's like, but I wanted to have some fun. So I made a couple, I made the pass at the start, and I just wanted to have some fun. And I'm like, I appreciate it. I like that.
It.
I like that perspective.
Yeah. I just, to this day, and I know sometimes it sounds like I'm a Drive to Survive hater. I just think it's so funny that like, within the F1 community, for the most part, everyone loves Max.
Like the people that actually
like that follow him, like he's such a like, especially because like I've watched some of his like outside documentaries when it comes to the sim racing stuff, and to just see how passionate he is about like he's kind. Like he seems very kind, and to just see him portrayed as like the meanest person, like Satan himself in Drive to Survive, I'm like, dude, that's not on the track. When when he's like in the car that's gonna win, yeah, but anybody would be.
Yeah, all the drivers have like I've heard so many drivers say that like once you're on the track and the helmet's on and the visor is down, we're not friends.
No,
like we're all bloodthirsty sharks and we're going for the win. Like that's why we're here. That's why we do this.
Like when we went go-karting, I was like, you better move, sis. Get out the way.
Take no prisoners.
And so it's like. That's over with.
So like they're doing that to like the nth degree. Like it's just exponentially more. And I get it. But like outside of the car, like people, like the people that know Max and that have interacted with him directly, like other drivers, people in the media, they have pretty much nothing but kind things to say about him. Yes, he can be direct. Yes, he can be blunt, but he's never like unkind.
No, I think, if you take the bluntness as rude, then You're allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, I think too, it's like, he's been around enough for if you're there covering the sport, you know his personality.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask him something dumb and you get that sort of blunt sort of response, you're not really allowed, in my opinion, to be like,
to get your feelings
hurt.
hurt.
Oh my God. Well, what'd you expect, bro? It's Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Why'd you ask him that? It was dumb.
Yeah. He will call it a dumb question or say, I already answered that.
He goes, why though?
He'll be like, or he'll say, I don't really want to talk about that. Or it'll be,
he'll give like the snarkiest little response, and he puts the mic in his lap and he's like, next. It's just
this closed mouth smile.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so funny. But no, I was super excited to see Max up there. And then he just was there.
Mm-hmm.
There really wasn't anything else after Lando, passed him. He was just kind of there.
Yeah. He was just holding the spot.
Yeah. I know they were talking about, is Isack gonna overtake him, or is he gonna be told not to? And I'm like, I think that one, that shouldn't even be radio communication, which is allowed anyway, because they're supposed to be separate teams, which is Joylan Palmer kind of talked about during the race. But it's like, I think if Isack has the chance, he'd probably do it.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it was there.
I think it would depend on the position that they were in and what they were fighting for, right?
Yeah.
So if it was a case of like Max is fighting, like last year when he was fighting Lando for the title, and if Red Bull is fighting for a constructor's like win, like the number one position, if they're in a very close fight, that may be an instance in which some sort of communication happens where they're like, we're sister teams, like let's not.
Which part of me hates. I'm like, you shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, I agree.
You should not be. But I get that it just is what it is.
Yeah. But in this scenario, when Max is not in the title fight, when Red Bull's not in the constructors fight, I think that it's just like, let them race, because at this point, doing anything else giving any sort of team to team orders,
it's just a bad look.
It's a bad look publicity wise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But speaking of Isack Hadjar, we already expressed some of our joy on his behalf.
Oh, I'm so happy.
So, Racing Bulls rookie Isack Hadjar took P3 to become the 5th youngest podium finisher of all time.
Ayo.
Behind Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll, Kimi Antonelli, and Lando Norris.
Nice.
So he's 20 years old. He's the youngest French driver to stand on the F1 podium. The previous record was Pierre Gasly at age 23 in 2019. This was the 6th podium finish for Racing Bulls in their team's history. That includes like when they were known as other team names.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any podiums when they were known as Minardi. They had 3 podium finishes as Toro Rosso. They had 2 podium finishes as AlphaTauri. And 1 as Racing Bulls.
Isack, I was so excited for.
Yeah, so he tied the best result for a rookie this season. So Kimi Antonelli also finished P3 in Canada.
I just love that it's like he had like the start of the season was literally rough. Like this first race, that was sad. That sucked so bad for him.
On the formation lap
in Australia,
didn't even get to start the race and was just very upset. Like visibly, you could. Like, we didn't see, but he kept his helmet on, head down, walking all the way back.
Anthony Hamilton intercepted him and was like, "It's okay."
Yeah, so he was.
And to go from that to just. You're on the podium, baby.
Podium finisher in your rookie season.
Next to Max Verstappen, too. Like, that's legit.
And I love that both Kimi and Isack got to finish on the podium with Max there, too. Because Max is, again, he's kind. He makes sure that, like, the people who achieve first in the sport, like, he's very congratulatory and, like, happy for them and expresses that. So, Max being up there got to spray the champagne on Isack and really, like, make a moment of it.
Did you see the comparisons? They said that's how you do a first person's podium, and they compared it to McLaren's with Nico Hulkenberg. And I was like, the pictures and videos say enough. I don't have to comment.
Yeah. And I did love that they had to accept like the constructors trophy. They had a woman up there. McLaren had a woman. It was their chief, I think, finance officer, their CFO.
I was like, who is she?
Yeah, it was their CFO, which I love seeing that. Apparently, I think I saw somewhere where she's only the 12th woman to accept an award like up on the podium on behalf of a team.
That was cool. Yeah, I noticed that. Well, yeah, I saw her up there. I just wasn't sure. I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, but I did like seeing too that speaking of women on teams, when they were showing the Racing Bulls team celebrating.
There's so many girls.
There's so many women on that team.
That's what when me and Travis were watching, and I'm like, there's a lot of girls.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you hiring? Do you want some more girls? We're down.
So that was very nice to see. So it's one of those things where it's like, I know some people are like representation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it kind of does matter. Because like, I see something like it's not a pandering moment. It's just a genuine,
well, I think that's what
in the moment sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to is when anybody reacts so like coldly to feeling like they're being preached to versus like, it all goes back to show, don't tell.
Yeah.
You just see a bunch of women and then that was it. It wasn't like, oh, and look at the garage. Look at all the girls. Like, no one was commentating, talking about it, throwing it in your face. They just were. And so I was excited. That was really cool.
That was very cool. Finishing in P4 was George Russell for Mercedes. That was Mercedes' best finish at Zandvoort since 2022. So George Russell, what was his race? He had a moment with somebody. Was it Charles? Charles overtook him.
Oh, yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment,
okay.
girl. What?
Here it comes back to me. I was like, what happened with him? Oh, yeah. Charles sent it on George.
Yes. And
I think they touched wheels. I believe they like banged wheels. I don't even know if like Charles was fully on track still when he made that move. No. And I know people were like, oh, they're going to investigate that. But like looking at the replay on that, he didn't overtake while he was off track. He was still a little bit behind George when he was fully off track. He was back on track once he did gain the position. Yeah. So I don't know how that
basically
affects.
They said that when I looked it up later, both drivers went. They pretty much neither of them from all the different angles could really present any like evidence or whatever that show Charles did this or show George did that because whatever. So there was nothing.
Yeah, they basically just
they were like, whatever.
It happened.
They're like, the other Mercedes wrecked you anyway, so
yeah, they dropped it because Charles got into a moment with Kimi. So
which, I mean, to be honest, is kind of good that they didn't because then that would have carried over to Monza, which is what's happened to our other Ferrari driver, which we'll get to later.
Yeah. So moving on to P5. Alex Albon finished P5 for Williams.
Oh my gosh, Alex.
It was Williams' first top 5 finish at Zandvoort since Keke Rosberg and Derek Daly in 1982. It was Albon's 10th points finish of the season, his most in a single season since joining Williams. Yeah, Alex,
he did a really good job. And I have that I screenshotted that graphic because there were people that gained so many places. It was crazy.
Yeah, this race was actually super interesting from like a strategy.
Alex Albon gained 10 places.
Yeah, that was crazy. He started P15, made his way up to P10, and they did an interview with him after the race. And they were like, what was going on? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, we all went on summer break. We came back and it was just chaos.
He said it was like the seas opened up and I just went for it.
He literally was like, I started P15. I made it up to P10 and then I just stayed on the track and then somehow ended up P5.
Yeah, he was like, I don't really know how it happened.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure.
Finishing P6 was Oliver Bearman. It was a career best finish for the Haas driver who started from the pit lane.
Yes.
I would say Oliver Bearman is in contention for driver of the day.
That's a good call.
He's in contention there because he was, again, someone who was kind of like, I don't know what happened. They talked to him after the race and he's like, the last 2 hours, I blacked out. I don't even know.
Yeah, he's like, I just was there. I don't really know what happened.
I guess they just made the right calls for tires or they took advantage of safety cars in the right way. And we don't really know. He just was there.
He was like, I was there and I was cool with it.
Which, I mean, that's just a great result for him. I know he's had some moments of struggling as well this season. So that's got to be a confidence booster for him for sure, especially after qualifying. Not great.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, Haas as a team didn't qualify great. Like Esteban Ocon, he finished P10. So it was a double point score for Haas, but I think Esteban started 18th on the grid.
Okay. Yeah, because he gained 8 places.
Yeah, and then finished P10. So again, both the Haas drivers were kind of like, I don't know what happened. Great job. Great job, team. So for Haas, this was the 3rd time they've had a double points finish this season.
They're pretty if they can get some qualifying stuff down, they're a pretty solid midfield team. Mm-hmm. So
it's really the qualifying that's been the big struggle for them.
Yeah. I mean, Bearman was literally the only rookie that didn't crash in Silverstone. So, or like, he's the only one that didn't DNF.
Mm-hmm. So we had another person that qualified really terribly and started at the back of the grid, Lance Stroll.
You know what? You got to give him his flowers.
Started from 19th on the grid to finish 7th for Aston Martin.
He did good. Honestly, I'm going to be so real. Couldn't tell you anything that I don't know that they mentioned him the whole time.
Nope.
But all I saw, I said, wait a minute, 12 places.
I almost want to go and watch.
I'm going to have to rewatch the thing to be like, wait, what happened?
I need to see his driver highlights from the race because I'm like, was it all taking advantage of safety cars? Did he make any good passes? Like,
he was on mediums for a little while. No, he did a 2-stop race. He was on mediums and hard. Huh.
Without a soft.
No softs. Him and Alonso didn't have softs.
Yeah. So, I mean, Lance Stroll is what we talked about earlier in the season. He's sort of a anonymous driver to us because a lot of people just don't cover him.
Palmer is a certified Lance Stroll hater. And I love Dorlan Palmer, but he is a hater.
A lot of people, I think their opinion of Lance Stroll is colored by the fact that he is a Nepo baby. His father's a billionaire, owns the team. The reason Lance Stroll got in a seat in Formula One and maintains a seat in Formula One is, I mean, you can say it's because his father owns the team and his father wants him as a driver. However,
I have arguments.
However, looking at his record and his finishes, being able to score points, he's gotten a podium in his career. Like, he's not a horrible driver.
So first off, they're on practically all of them, besides probably Lewis Hamilton, is a Nepo baby.
Yes, all of them
have connections to this sport. I mean, Max Verstappen is arguably probably the best in the world and might be the best there ever really has been. But he was raised by his Formula One driver father.
Didn't his mom also race?
I'm not sure. I mean, if she did, it wasn't Formula One. But I mean, his father was a Formula One driver, teammates with Schumacher. And obviously, yes, Jos Verstappen is not a world champion, but he raised his son because he knew what it would take to be a world champion if that's what Max wanted. And he did a good job. So it's like, but that aside, the whole Nepo baby thing with Lance is, yes, his father's a billionaire. Yes, his father owns that team. However, you still have to get the points on your super license to be able to race a Formula One car. So he still had to go through feeder series. You can't just hire somebody off the street with no experience whatsoever and put them in an F1 car. You're literally not legally allowed to do it. So it's like, yes, he's there because of his dad, but he had to have something to even get there at all. So Lance Stroll's just funny to pick at, to be honest. I mean, the worst part is everything about him online, he seems really nice.
Yeah.
He seems really nice. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be one of those people online that I'm going to be the contrarian where I'm like, you shut your mouth. All right.
And apparently he's actually really good friends with Esteban Ocon. Mm-hmm. And Esteban is one of the few Formula One drivers who is not a Nepo baby, who came from, like, basically similar story, I would think, to Lewis Hamilton in that not the most money, and his parents had to like sell. I think his dad was a regular car mechanic, had to sell his business. They sold their house and like got an RV and took him around, like really sacrificed a lot so he could do this and pursue it as a career. So, but Esteban is apparently good friends with Lance Stroll and likes him a lot. And I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, I guess he seems nice enough. But I did fact check. So Max Verstappen's mother, Sophie Marie Kumpen, was a kart. She raced karts and she also raced like regular cars. Okay. So she began her career in kart racing. Cool. And she won the Andrea Margutti Trophy in 1995, racing in the Karting World Championships. She became the third woman in history to win a major international karting title.
That's really cool.
So she retired from racing after Max was born, but then returned to racing in 2013, competing in the Formido Swift Cup in the Netherlands before suffering a career-ending injury at Zandvoort.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow, so Max was bred to race, y'all.
Literally. I was like, I'm pretty sure I heard that his mom
I heard his sister carded with him and then she had stopped or whatever. And so, but anyway, the Nepo baby thing, I don't think if you're a Formula One fan, to be honest, if you're a fan of majority of the drivers on the grid, most of them are. So we just need to toss the Nepo. Like, if you are a fan of Formula One, you don't really get to be mad at Nepo babies. Most of them are Nepo babies. All right. Like,
you can't judge Lance Stroll for being a Nepo baby but then also be like the hugest Max Verstappen fan.
No.
Like, and not take that into account as well.
Yeah, it's like, if you want to complain about other stuff about him.
Yeah.
If you want to. Just the Nepo baby thing, just drop it.
But yeah, so you know what? Big ups to Lance Stroll.
You deserve your flowers, Lance. I don't know how you got up there. I'm going to have to go watch the highlights, and I'm going to blame the broadcast.
Yeah, because they just apparently are Lance Stroll haters and did not show it. Like, they hardly ever mention him. Unless he's like ramming into the back end of
Daniel Ricciardo. I will say, I was a hater then, but that's because I am a Daniel Ricciardo lover.
So Lance Stroll now leads teammate Fernando Alonso 32 points to 30 in the Drivers' Championship.
Alonso, let's get it now. I want him on the podium so bad.
Yeah, Alonso took P8 in this race. He has scored in 6 of the last 7 races.
I love Alonso.
Red Bull's Yuki Tsunoda finished in P9 to end a 7-race streak without a point.
Thank God.
It was Yuki's first ever points finish at Zandvoort.
Good job, Yuki.
Yeah, we'll take it. I mean, any point scoring finish is good at this point for him in Red Bull.
Yes. And you know, it's interesting. I wonder if Yuki feels more relaxed now because of who the team principal is. He has a good relationship with him, or it seems that he has a good relationship with him. They've spoken like highly of each other. If some of the pressure has been taken off of, like, Jordan Palmer's talked about this before, where it's like putting so much pressure on, I have to perform or I don't have a seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically that's the reason you're not able to perform, because that's so like clouding your brain versus like you're not comprehending the car as you should be. So it makes me wonder if now that Christian Horner's gone, if there's been a level of relaxation finally hitting Red Bull. Not, relaxation being like maybe some of that just iciness, or maybe that added pressure may be gone now.
Well, you have to balance anytime you're leading a team or leading people.
Yeah.
You have to balance the amount of pressure you're applying to people.
Yeah.
And it's different from person to person. So like there's a certain level of pressure that you put upon people that motivates them and it increases their performance.
I think Mercedes would be a good example of that.
Yeah. And there's a level like expectation and, you know, there's a good pressure where it's like, I want to live up to this expectation. I want to contribute to this team. I want to, you know, but then there reaches a certain point. It's a balancing, because it reaches a certain point where if you apply too much pressure, too much expectation, then it starts to negatively affect their performance and it's not doing any good anymore.
Yeah.
And there are certain people that put a lot of pressure on themselves already.
Yes.
And they do not need extra external pressure applied. They need something else to help support them. It's like, I'm not lacking in motivation to do well. That's what to me pressure does, is it is a form of motivation.
Yeah.
But if you already have internal pressure that you put on yourself to do well, then you need something else. You need support. You don't need more pressure.
I think McLaren's good at that because, you know, Lando has spoken publicly about how much pressure he puts on himself, and he's talked about mental health before. And I feel like McLaren, at least publicly, whenever they've spoken, they've never really, it seems like they just support him. You know, whatever he needs, if they can help, they do. You know, they kind of help guide him, or it seems that way. So I'm like, it just, the environment that a team chooses to cultivate, I'm like, and that might be one of the main reasons Christian had to go. I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. I'm happy for Yuki to be in the points. And I hope that's some encouraging for him, encouraging for the team, that whatever direction they've started to go into. Because, I mean, he started like 12th or 13th. I mean, it had to be 12th because he finished 9th and he gained 3 places. So I'm like, so we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see in Monza how things go.
Franco Colapinto finished P11.
That's his best so far. I was very happy for him.
It was the best finish of the season for this Alpine chassis by either the Argentine driver or the man he replaced, Jack Doohan. So in this particular car, this is the best finish that
I know. I was looking at you this way because you said chassis and not chassis. So I was like, it's okay. Tomato, potato. I don't. Tomato, potato, carrot, whatever. They're all vegetables.
And they're root, I don't know. They're root vegetables except tomatoes that grow on vines. I don't know. This metaphor
isn't science class.
Gone off the track. Liam Lawson finished P12 for Racing Bulls and was the only Red Bull-backed car to not score points.
That probably really isn't his fault. I don't know. Carlos Sainz and him had a moment.
Yeah.
So they both basically well, the argument is that Liam didn't leave enough space, but then Carlos shouldn't have done that anyway because he has more of a view of Liam than Liam has of him because Carlos at the time was the driver behind. Basically, they both DB'd and they both had to pit because they hit each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Carlos got a penalty. Oh, that was crazy. He was like, me? I got a penalty? What? Oh, I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
He went full, let me talk to your manager.
Yes. And he was not happy after the race, his post-race interviews. He basically was like, the FIA always says, and the stewards say that the door's open if we ever want to come to them and talk to them about penalties or decisions that they've made. But he's like, I just got a message that they don't want to talk to me right now. And I want to see them. And for whatever reason, they don't want to talk to me. So that's frustrating. And basically, Carlos said that, talking about the actual incident, he said that, I've done moves like that with other drivers, knowing that they'll leave a space and basically trusting. And there's a level of trust and respect for drivers that you leave the space and stuff like that. And he basically was like, with this particular driver, he would never say his name, but like say Liam's name. They said with this particular driver, that wasn't the case. And this isn't the first time that this has happened.
Oh, yeah. I guess on the radio, too, he said, it's always him.
Yeah. Where basically he's like, with other drivers, I've done the same move in the same sort of corner so many times and it's fine. And he's like, with this particular driver, that's not necessarily the case. And And I'm like, okay, I hear what you're saying. But it sounds to me like what you're saying is that Liam just drove the car and that he did what drivers do, which is try to race and not maybe. I don't know how much I appreciate the argument of like driving respectfully or leaving a healthy amount of space.
Well, so it's like, for one, you were there at no point in time were you ever ahead of Liam. Two, I understand. See, I get the argument because when I'm wrong, that's an argument I would use.
Yes.
And I have used and probably will use later in my life. And it's like, yes, those drivers left room, but if they didn't, were you wrong? That's the thing that it boils down to is that argument 100% has probably happened where you did have done a similar move, but it never came up because you were left the room
to make the move.
But if the other driver, any other driver wouldn't have left you that room and you would have hit them, would you have got the penalty? So it's like that's not really an argument because basically you're saying he didn't leave me room. Well, he didn't have to.
You're saying he didn't get out of my way when I tried to make a move. Well, he's not supposed to get out of your way.
No, he didn't. And
if he's defending or if he can't see you, like that's not his job to get out of your way. His job is to race.
And I think too, someone had said that they didn't know that, and this isn't like a purposeful thing, how well Carlos had established himself for Liam to really have spatial awareness of where he was. There's no universe where Liam's like, I'm going to hit him.
Yeah.
Because that just messes up his race. Obviously, he was not aware. And now whether he should have been or not probably went into account when they were reviewing it. So it's just kind of like, there have been multiple people that have complained about Liam. But I also am just like, in this particular instance, I don't really know that there was, I love Carlos. Kind of just seemed like a him thing though.
Yeah. I mean, they've made very clear the FIA has and the stewards when they're doling out penalties and reviewing incidents, they've made it very clear that if you are the car ahead, you are not at fault. Like in many instances, like if you are clearly the car ahead.
I think there's instances where like don't run someone off the track. I think there's instances, but in this one, it's like
no. But in this case, if there's a collision, if you are the car behind. It is your responsibility because you have more visibility and awareness of the car in front of you. It is your responsibility to not hit the car in front of you.
Which, low-key, was really surprised Charles did not get a penalty for hitting George.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like, if they come out with one, I'm going to be like, well, I kind of see it. But they didn't, so thank God.
So Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli finished 6th on the road, but dropped down to P16 after 15 seconds of penalties.
Yep.
I assume from the incident with Charles Leclerc.
10 for that, and then he was speeding in the pit lane. So 5.
Speeding in the pit lane.
Which, first of all, they upped the freaking how fast you can go anyway in the pit lane. So why y'all speeding?
Yeah, well, there's a button that they literally can push on the steering wheel. That's the pit lane
It may
limiter.
have been maybe when he entered, he could have entered too fast
and didn't
then
hit the button.
Yeah, so it could
quick
have
enough.
Been, something. It could have been something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, so they talked to F1 TV, talked to Toto Wolff after the race, and we're kind of asking his perspective and about Kimi's race in general. And, for Kimi, I would think it's a bit of a confidence boost because, again, he had a series of rough races where he was not finishing so great and had some DNFs. And so, to finish 6th on merit, in the actual race itself has got to be a good confidence boost. But then he's making mistakes like, making a bad judgment call when it comes to the Charles Leclerc incident, which Toto was basically like, it was, driver error. It's like he's young. It's a mistake. He probably shouldn't have gone for that move, and he's inexperienced.
No, he should not have. Yeah, there's no universe he should have went for that.
And so he's like, it's just something to learn from. And we always said that this first season with Kimi was we're not trying to win a championship this season. This is a learning season. And we want him to make mistakes. And then he was like, well, we don't want him to make mistakes, but we want him that if he's going to make a mistake, make it now this season so we can learn from it and not repeat it again next season when we're in, his second season with us. So, because they asked him, the speeding in the pit lane thing, that is not something you should ever get a penalty for because there's literally a button on the steering wheel to limit your speed in the pit lane so you don't get a penalty for that.
People do it. You know what, though? It happens more often than people think, though.
Yeah, I know. But it's one of those things where it's like it's a procedural sort of thing where like you have to almost like there's very specific rules about what you can or cannot do at certain phases of like the start of a race.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever, so you kind of have to have some of those things drilled into you, and hitting that button for the pit lane limiter button, like that's got to be one of those things that like is automatic.
That was poor Kimi.
Yeah, so that was unfortunate that it
was very unfortunate.
We'll get to it, don't worry. So in P17 for Alpine, we had Pierre Gasly. He was the last classified finisher for the second consecutive race.
Bless.
I feel like he was doing okay at the end of last season, beginning of this season, and then he's just went.
He's normally the lead Alpine driver, so it makes me wonder what was going on.
Yeah, there's something going on with him or this car, or I don't know. He's just not been doing so hot lately, which is unfortunate because he's a decent driver.
Yeah.
He should be a solid driver on a decent midfield team. And Alpine has just been sucking lately. Sorry about it.
Yeah, not great.
So looking at our DNFs from this race, we had 3 of them we mentioned earlier. So we had Lando Norris. His DNF for McLaren was his first mechanical retirement since Brazil 2022. So Lando, I think there's maybe 20 or so laps, 15, 20 laps left in the race, maybe. Was it fewer than that?
It was not a lot.
Yeah.
From what I recall. Because, it was basically like,
Was it less than 10? I don't remember. It was toward the end of the race. Yeah. He basically reported on the radio that there was a weird smell. Yeah. And like something was burning and there was a weird sort of chemical smell and it was not good. And so it ended up, I think I heard someone say that there was like an oil leak or something like that was burning. I don't know if they found that was still true after the fact, but basically he had a mechanical failure, which they were saying that a lot of drivers or a lot of teams take new power units at Monza, which is the next race.
Yep.
So, and I assume that they do that because at this point in the season is about, if you haven't changed your power unit yet, you probably need to.
Well, Monza, it's the fastest track on the calendar.
And your power unit will have been worn down by this point. So a lot of teams strategically plan to do that. And so he just ended up having a mechanical failure.
Yeah, that was
a week early.
Yeah, that was horrible.
And he looked so sad.
I would have been depressed.
Yeah.
I would have been so sad.
And it's because it's a case of like, there's nothing you can do.
No.
It's just bad luck. There's nothing that he did or the team did that caused this problem. It's not like they had a bad strategy. It's not like he made a mistake. It just happened.
Yep.
And he was on pace to finish second on that podium. And that just really sucks for him.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks too because it's just so many. Everyone's so critical of him, and for something like this to happen, that's completely out of his control. It's just like more pressure to an already like really tense situation. So hopefully he'll bounce back. I mean, he'll bounce back. We'll see what happens with him. But our other 2 DNFs though.
My heart hurt. So Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton both had DNFs. Lewis's DNF was, as we mentioned earlier, caused by he just had a moment taking the line. It was the banking. I think it was turn 3.
Yeah, it's the super bank corner.
Yeah, it's like really high. And for those who don't know, banking on the track just means like imagine a bowl with the slope sides, and then you get to the bottom of the bowl. Some racetracks have slopes going to either side of the track, so it's at an angle. Mm-hmm. And Zandvoort is known for having these like really steep banks.
It's basically like a slingshot.
Yeah, and so normally you would take the outside line going up into like the top of the bank, and then kind of like down to the other side.
Yeah, normally you'd be trying to take like the apex of a corner, but with that particular corner, you're just staying like on the outside, and you're just letting it basically slingshot you out.
Yeah, and he was trying to take the line. He had a little wobble. Some people were saying it was the paint.
Yeah, because it was like it was a little wet. There had been spots at that point, and so if it had rained there, they were saying like the white paint in particular can be a little more slippery, and he had
a wobble and then just ended up in the barrier.
He almost saved it, but then that tire just clipped. It was done.
Yeah, he had a wobble, tried to recover, but he kind of ran out of road at the angle he was at and just clipped the barrier, and that was it for him.
Yeah.
And so it was like a no.
It was horrible though, because like everything was fine, and then all of a sudden yellow flag, and then it cuts to Lewis's onboard, and I was like, "You what?" Yeah, that was hard. That was rough. Not happy.
Yeah, and so then we also obviously had Charles Leclerc for Ferrari. His moment with Kimi clipping him. Basically, Charles.
He was on the line he was supposed to be at.
Yeah, and then Kimi just made a bad decision about the line he was taking and just ended up touching his...
It was the same corner.
Yeah, same exact corner, ended up touching his tire, and Charles kind of spun out, had a moment. He ripped his whole front nose of the car gone. Mm-hmm. He ended up facing backwards on the middle of the track.
And Liam Lawson was right there.
Liam Lawson coming around that corner and he even said, so his engineer came on the radio and immediately was like, double flag where you are, like double yellow flag where you are. And so Liam immediately, starts to slow down. And he was like, oh my God, dude, you just saved my life, because I did not see him. Like literally that radio call his engineer made came just in time.
Yeah.
Like that. And he was like, oh. And then his engineer was like, all good. All good.
And then Charles like flung the car in a safer spot.
Yeah,
and I was like,
he had to like whip it to get into the grass, so he wasn't in the middle of the track. Yeah. And
then he was just stuck in the middle of the track for the entire race, and every photographer known to man was like,
yeah. So Charles, usually the drivers will get out of the car, climb over the barrier, and then they either walk back to the garage, or they'll get a lift from somebody, a golf cart or a scooter or something.
The scooter of shame.
Yeah. And but to do that, you have to cross the barrier to the outside edge of the track. Think of a donut. You want to be on the outside of the donut. Charles went over the closest barrier to him, which was on the inside of the donut. And then you could see there was a moment where he was gesturing. He was talking to one of the marshals on the side of the track, and then he gestures like across and points to the other side. And the marshal does like a nah fam sort of wave, like, no, you can't do that gesture. And so I think Charles was asking if he could cross back over. And the marshal was like, you're stuck here, bro. And so then Charles just had to chill in the grass for the last 20 laps of the race.
Yeah.
And so that was very unfortunate. And then, so right after that incident happened and before Charles got out of the car, he said on the radio, I don't understand basically why we had to do that. He wasn't talking about, or why that happened. He wasn't talking about Kimi hitting him. He was talking about why we even had to change tires in the first place, because he said the tires felt good.
Yeah.
And so him pitting, if he had just stayed out there, he could have been fine. But because he pit and exited right ahead of Kimi when he did that, then Kimi then hit him. And so there was some conversation after the race where some people were saying, well, we don't really have all the facts. We don't know why the team made the call to change tires at that time. They have a lot more information than we do watching the race. So there could have been a bunch of different factors as to why they would have pitted right then.
Yeah.
And they asked Charles after the race, and Charles was like, look, that shouldn't be the headline for the story. You know, me questioning or our strategy, you know, that what actually caused this incident wasn't our strategy call. It was Kimi making a wrong choice.
Exactly. Yeah. So
prior to this, Ferrari had a 100% finishing record before today, which they did have a double disqualification in China, but they did finish the race in China.
Yeah.
So both Ferraris had finished all races up to this point.
Yeah. And Lewis has a 5-place grid penalty going into Monza because of an infringement where basically it might have been during one of the practice sessions, or maybe it was qualifying. Long story short, it was supposed to be a double yellow thing when they were coming back, and Lewis slowed down, but he didn't slow down enough, and so it was infringement on that and 5-place grid penalty.
Lewis Hamilton has scored no points in the last 2 Grand Prix.
What are you going to do?
This was his first DNF for Ferrari, and he has had 1 DNF due to an accident in each of the last 5 seasons. Fun facts.
Yeah, it's fun for someone.
Not for you.
Not for me.
Or Lewis. Oh, man. That's rough.
And that is the end of our fun facts.
Rough. It was very fun.
Yeah.
I mean, at times. Other times it was just depressing.
It was distressing and depressing when we had our Ferrari crash outs, and it was depressing and distressing when Lando Norris just had to sit on his little hill.
But it was exciting when Max was like, "No!"
Yeah. So there were some great moments in this race. I think it's a fun track. I think that it lends itself to interesting strategy choices because I feel like there have been some races where everyone's basically on the same strategy more or less. I like that this race and even the previous one where it's been like it could be a 1-stop, could be a 2-stop.
Well, that's because of Pirelli.
Yeah.
They changed the compounds that they had before this track because they pretty much were trying to force a 2-stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, teams and drivers might hate it, but sorry, it's fun for us.
Yeah, it allows for more interesting things to happen.
Yeah. Well, that means now that fun facts are over and we've basically covered everything, we can get into our rookie report. It has been a month. Now we get to cover our rookies. Okay. So Kimi Antonelli, he qualified 11th. He finished 16th, so 0 points. Kimi Antonelli climbed from P11 with an early undercut, but his race fell apart after contact with Charles Leclerc at turn 3, which left him with a puncture and a 10-second penalty for causing a collision and another 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, ending what had looked like a promising run. He apologized and said that the pace was encouraging and is now focused on bouncing back at Monza, which will be his second home race. Isack Hadjar, he qualified 4th and he finished 3rd, so he got 15 points.
Woo-woo.
Hadjar started a career best 4th and drove a flawless race under heavy pressure, staying with Verstappen late on and inheriting 3rd when Norris retired to claim his maiden podium. It was an impressive result given he lost most of FP2 with an engine issue, and afterward he said it felt incredible to achieve one of his dreams, thanking his family and the Red Bull family, and he hopes to carry the momentum into Monza. Lewis was also really supportive of him, which I know probably made him really excited because he's said multiple times Lewis is like his idol, and so it was cool to see Lewis, even though he had a horrible race. He supported Isack. Franco Colapinto, he qualified 16th and he finished 11th. So 0 points, but it is his career best finish so far. Colapinto took a gamble on soft tires at the start and used the latter safety cars to climb back through the field, narrowly missing out on a point after running out of laps to challenge Ocon. He said it was his best finish of the season so far and felt he drove well and is taking confidence from the improved performance as he looks ahead to Monza, the track where he made his Formula One debut last year with Williams. Ollie Bearman, he qualified 19th but he started from the pit lane and he finished 6th. So 8 points.
Woo!
Bearman started from the pit lane after changing power unit parts, but made most of the strategy, staying out through the early safety cars and gaining track position. He fought into the points, passed Gasly for 7th, and was promoted to 6th after Antonelli's penalty, calling it a lucky but rewarding day and praising the team's strategy and pace. So, have most of the time with a safety car, you're like, oh, pit, but you could gamble. You can stay out. And it worked out for him. Gabriel Bortoleto, he qualified 13th. He finished 15th, so 0 points. Bortoleto's race unraveled after a clutch issue at the start dropped him to the back, and despite recovering towards the points, he was forced into a late stop that left him outside of the top 10. He described it as a frustrating day with missed opportunities and some damage from contact, but congratulated Hadjar on his podium and said that the focus now shifts to Monza. Liam Lawson, he qualified 8th. He finished 12th, so no points. Liam was running in the points at Zandvoort before contact with Carlos Sainz gave him a puncture and dropped him out of the top 10. He called it a frustrating incident that ruined both of their races, but was pleased for Hadjar's podium and said the result shows the car's potential as he turns his focus to Monza. So I'm sure he had a lot more he wanted to say, but chose to say that. So our last and our favorite rookie, Fernando Alonso, he qualified 10th and he finished 8th, so 4 points.
Yay.
Alonso had a tough race after a poor start, which left him stuck in traffic, and an ill-timed pit stop between safety cars dropped him down the order. He recovered late as others stopped and just managed to salvage points, later saying the car had good pace, but that the safety cars cost him a better result, and once again, focusing on Monza coming up. So sounds to me like all the rookies are basically like, it's over now, looking ahead. But yeah, so that wraps up our rookie report, and we can now jump into our best and worst segment. So, driver of the day, I immediately was like, Isack Hadjar. But then you made some good points with Oliver Bearman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with Isack because he got a podium.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be said about Ollie Bearman literally starting from the pit lane and finishing where he did. So it's pretty impressive.
I would still also go with Isack Hadjar for driver of the day because we know how he got a podium. He qualified really well, maintained P4 throughout the race. And then with Lando Norris having his engine failure, or his engine issue, picked up a podium at P3. So he had to do a lot to qualify that high and then maintain that position.
Not to mention missing out on most of FP2. So it's like, missing out on a practice session's bad.
Yeah. Whereas with Oliver Bearman, even he didn't quite know exactly what happened or how he ended up where he ended up, but he did. So I think it's a case of like, I don't know enough about how his race went or the strategy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like how much was intentional and how much was just luck.
Yeah.
So for me, driver of the day comes down a little bit more. It's not just about the end result. It's about what was your performance like to get there. So yeah, I would go Isack Hadjar for sure for driver of the day.
Yeah.
My biggest letdown, I'm going to go Kimi Antonelli because he took out my guy, Charles Leclerc, and he also got a 15 seconds of penalties and could have finished P6 and ended up finishing P16. So that would be my biggest letdown.
I like that better
than just saying Ferrari again.
Yeah, because I'm like, it wasn't really Charles's fault. And
it wasn't Lewis had a moment.
With Lewis, it's like, I don't think he let me down as much as it was just like, well, that was weird.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. I mean, Kimi let me down. That's a good point. Kimi, you let us down, bud. That's all right.
You'll bounce back.
It'll be fine. Just please don't hit any more. Please definitely don't hit any more Ferrari drivers. Please. Thank you.
You know what's funny is someone made the point that both Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen have been terrorizing George Russell in races, and then both were later taken out by Kimi Antonelli by his teammate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying it's pattern. It's kind of a coincidence. It's like, if I had a nickel for every time that happened, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened more than once.
Yeah, that's true. Well, with that being said, we can look at this coming weekend, our next race teaser. So the next race will be round 16 at the Autodromo Nation. What the?
Hold on. Do we need
It's Monza. But I was going to say it. I was like, I was like, how do I say it like an Italian? Autodromo Nazionale
Nazionale
Monza.
Autodromo
Nazionale Monza. Is that right? Oh, wait, are you supposed to do this? I think it's like a big deal to talk with your hands if you're Italian. I think you can offend them greatly if you speak with your hands a certain way. Okay.
I don't know.
So,
hands.
No hands. Okay. I'm sorry. So, our next race, it's Monza. Round 16, aka the Temple of Speed, also known as the Italian GP. So, our last year's podium was Charles Leclerc, which was magical.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. I mean, the pictures from then are still like burned in my brain. He had the black suit on.
I was going to ask, was that the black and like the, oh, looked really good.
Amazing. So that was where he gambled on the one stop, I think, and it just worked and it was great. So here's some stats about Monza. The first GP was in 1950. It is 53 laps long. The circuit length is 5.8 kilometers just about, which is about 3.6 miles. The race distance is 307 kilometers. I'm rounding up, which is about 190.6 miles. The race lap record is held by Rubens Barrichello in 2004, which was 1 minute and 21.046 seconds. And it has 2 DRS zones. So the thing with Monza, so like what's the track like? It is Formula One's most iconic circuit, pretty much. It's been on the calendar since 1950. It is known as the Temple of Speed. It's the fastest track in the sport, with cars spending nearly 80% of the lap at full throttle and averaging over 260 kilometers per hour. It has very long straights, heavy braking zones. It demands low downforce setups, leaving cars slippery in the corners but lightning quick on the straight. So it's going to be a blast to watch.
So the Monza track is shaped, funnily enough, like this. So if you do it's got like the DRS zone here, right? There's a DRS zone here. There's a little bit of a curve. There's another little curve here, and the second DRS zone is here on the thumb of the hand.
Yeah.
And then we go back around here. So it's just very funny that it's like
Italian. We're kidding. So now once again, the biggest question is always, can we overtake? Yes, Monza is one of the best overtaking tracks on the calendar because of its long straights and heavy braking zones. Drivers can line up moves with slipstreams and DRS and then attack in the chicanes. So we should have a very exciting race. I have said this for a while now, and I'm going to stick to my guns despite him having a 5-place grid penalty no matter where he qualifies. This is going to be Lewis Hamilton's race. He's going to be on the podium. I think he will win. And I'm saying that now.
Okay.
I've said it, and I'm not changing my mind.
You're hard manifesting.
Because I'm like, there's just something special was going to happen to Lewis Hamilton at Monza because it literally has to.
I'm gonna go for Charles Leclerc in this one because like he won last year here, and there's certain tracks he just comes alive, and I think some of that has to do with the atmosphere and the support from the fans. So obviously Monaco is one of those tracks. Monza is another one because like the Ferrari support and fans is very strong here. I think that he gets a little extra boost from that, and I think Charles Leclerc's got this one.
I think it'll be a Ferrari weekend.
All right,
but I'm still sticking with. I think that energy, you can hear the crowd. There's something magical about it, and I'm like, this is gonna be it. It's gonna be my boy Lewis. That's what I'm calling.
Okay.
I really hope I'm not wearing a clown outfit. Yeah. Maybe I should probably get it on Amazon and order it just in case. Oh, just go to Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
It's that time.
That's true.
But yeah, so that wraps it up. We are still trying to find our groove. We're not good at taking time off, so.
Yeah, we're like, okay, how do we do this again?
We're like, what is this? So, all right, guys, let us know who your driver of the day was, your biggest letdown, and any predictions you have going into the weekend. And we will talk at you after Lewis Hamilton wins Monza. Bye.
It's going to be Charles.